Ciao guys, tell me please if you can hear me. Some problem with the video, the always the same things. Thank you, but I think everything's fine for now. I hope. Even now that I switched the page. Thanks for the feedback. Isabella, ti ringrazio davvero, davvero apprezzo tantissimo che comunque mi stai sentendo, è un qualcosa che veramente apprezzo, quindi grazie. And you too, Seb, really thanks for being here, always to support me with my horrible lives, with my very low PC. I really don't know how this can work even now, after all these years. But yeah, here we go with Alone in the Dark, the father of survivor horror, and that's out of question. It's the father of this genre. Despite this term, this name, survivor horror, was made by Capcom 4 years later. Alone in the Dark released with Resident Evil. We all know that. But if Alone in the Dark didn't come out, Resident Evil would be so much different for so many things. So I really can't wait to play Alone in the Dark with all of you because, of course, I already played it several years ago. Not so much actually, because I didn't know that's available on Steam. I really didn't know that, and I was aware that it was released in the 1992 for different PCs and only for 3DO console in 1994. So I had trouble for find it and play it. But then I found out that is available on Steam. So wow, I was so stupid as always. Yeah, and ciao, thanks for being here. I really appreciate it that you're here, guys. And yeah, I was saying that Alone in the Dark is available on Steam, so you can all enjoy this massive masterpiece. Of course, the PC requirements are the lowest, and you're able to play it in different languages like the Italian, the Spanish, French, of course, because Alone in the Dark is from France, and the other language, other European languages. I think also the Dutch. So yeah, it's totally available for different languages. Yeah, and yeah, the this version which I bring you this evening isn't the Steam one, but the 3DO one. So, what's the 3DO? 3DO is one of the first consoles on 32 bit from the first 90s, and Alone in the Dark was released only for this console because its main release was for the PC. So unfortunately, we haven't any version of the first Alone in the Dark on PlayStation, for example, or for Sega Saturn, but just the second chapter, if I'm correct, because also the third had some troubles for the console release. But yeah, this time we focused to the first chapter. Yeah, there were different 3DO version because 3DO isn't a real console, but mostly a kind of I really don't know how to say. It's difficult also in Italian. So sorry for this lack of terms now. But it's supposed to be a standard for consoles. It's a very complicated story of 19th, because the 19th was a such amazing time for the console. Every kind of companies did own console. Also, for example, the Apple, or even the Bandai. Yeah, Bandai Namco. Now it's called Bandai Namco. But I'm not here to tell you the video game history from 19, because again, we need to focus to Alone in the Dark. So this is the very first concept of the true survivor horror. So the thing that you need to manage your items, you need to explore, you need to resolve the puzzles, and also about the action part, because Alone in the Dark has a strong component of the action, and that's one of the features that point up survivor horror games rather than a simple horror game. Yeah, it's pretty complicated also this this question, but yeah, the action is a really important thing about the survivor horror genre, but it needs to be balanced about the few ammos or the few weapons that you're allowed to have, and also about the exploration and the puzzles. So, yeah, guys, we can proceed with the English language, because no, I can't speak French. I'm sorry. And yeah, also that Alone in the Dark is a French game made by Infogrames. Yeah, because you need to pronounce the French one. So Infogrames. And yeah, so survivor horror is actually European. Then we have the selection of the character that you can play with Emily and Edward. That's a kind of flashback, isn't? Yeah, Alone in the Dark allows you to play with two different characters, but unfortunately, there isn't such a big difference. And that's very distant from what Resident Evil is going to do 4 years later, because Jill and Chris have a totally different gameplay about own skills, about the lockpick, the piano, the way of aiming, and so on. And of course, about the story, because Jill has the cutscenes with Barry, while Chris has Rebecca's ones, and of course other changes. But I'm not here to talk about Resident Evil, because you know that I'm not stop anymore if I start. And yeah, that's the main difference is the prologue about their own reasons to go to their settle mansion. And yeah, even if Edward is the main character of the whole Alone in the Dark series, also the reboot that the first one was on 2001, if I'm correct. That's named The New Nightmare, that probably is the chapter more played, because it was released in every kind of console from those years. Really, even on the Game Boy. Wow, it's absurd, but yeah, it's a very good game. But it's way too similar to Resident Evil, and that's so hilarious since it's right Resident Evil that took everything from Alone in the Dark. So, ciao Roberto, thanks for being here. Yeah, guys, I really appreciate that you bury me in all my bad English talking, a childish voice. Really, thank you. And mm, I want to say that despite Edward is the main character of Alone in the Dark, I always choose Emily for her background. In my own opinion, Emily has a more important reason to go to their settle because it's about her uncle Jeremy, the owner of their settle mansion, is her his sorry uncle. So it's about own family. It's about a personal matter. So I always choose Emily for that reason. But again, the main character of the whole Alone in the Dark series is Edward. So I am already border you. Oh, this time we can start the game.
The attorney's letter came as a deep shock to me. My Uncle Jeremy had died by his own hand. The coroner's report was unequivocal. He hanged himself in the loft. My initial surprise and distress past, I considered the news. It seemed clear that Derceto had exercised a thoroughly morbid influence on my uncle's mind. That creaking old mansion with its unusual tales, its secret library door, the ancient upstairs clock, all those occult books that my uncle could not resist reading in spite of his fragile nerves. Fate had pointed its finger. Deseto had trapped its prey. Mr. McCarthy, the family lawyer, suggested selling the old house. I immediately opposed the idea. My duty is clear. I must go to Deseto. I tremble at the thought of those dark corridors, those brooding portraits. Yet I am convinced that Uncle Jeremy left a note, a letter of some kind explaining his fateful decision. I remember his voice saying, "Look at the piano, Emily. Look harder. Maybe the secret drawer will yield up an explanation." I have the feeling things will not be so simple. Life is a mystery containing more mysteries. Jeremy taught me that much.
And that's a detail that I really appreciate of Alone in the Dark because already in the prologue we have a lore detail about the letter of Jeremy that you need to find right in the piano, and that's is exactly what you need to do in the very first part of the game, that you actually find that file in the piano. And I love when the lore, the story, the narrative, some kind, in some way, just influences the gameplay. And that's a game from 1992, guys.
Now is the time to confront the mysteries. Derceto is waiting for me. I pray that my fear is nothing more than the fruit of my imagination. Nothing will ever persuade me that my uncle was insane. But why did he, according to the police report, block the loft window with the old wardrobe?
I played the remake slash reboot version of Alone in the Dark for PlayStation 5 this year, and I really appreciate the detail of the frog that is on the street like the original one. I love this frame. We're gonna to discuss also about the fixed camera angles, of course, that you probably know if you follow me, that in my opinion is the best way to express the survival horror genre. Till today, even if I know that it's pretty useless. To hope about that, yeah. It's a pity. This scene helps you to make you get in the first look the Desertio mansion because it's very big. First thing we're gonna to do is of course save, because I wanna show you some things that it's a I don't know how to say it because yeah, I'm gonna to show you and then I shut up. So let's save, and now we get the oil lamp, and the first thing you need to do is go here and push the wardrobe. All right. Maybe I did a little much. I hope not. Okay, I avoided the enemy. And now I try to do the same things here. No, ragazzi, botola non mi ricordo come si dice in inglese per niente. Sorry guys, I don't remember the name, the English name for the hole on the floor. Okay, but there's an enemy. This kind of detail are insane. Thanks for coming back. Again, guys, thanks for your time to be here. I really appreciate it, because you know that I'm just a nobody and I use this kind of live streaming for spreading my love toward the survival horror genre and for trying to improve my English some kind of way. But really, thanks for your time. So let's save also. Okay, and now I'm gonna to show you what is gonna to happen if you don't push these items. See? A kind of deja vu, right? From Resident Evil, that a kind of dog from the window. Yeah, I know that you already know that. It's pretty difficult to use the males in this game, but for the very first part is the only way to go against the enemy. But okay, we did the good choices. So yeah, it was this first one. Okay, then this kind of gameplay that you need every time to go to the menu for change your actions, like a fight, open search, close push. It's for the a kind of genesis of Alone in the Dark, because for those time of the first 90s, of course, survivor horrors genre wasn't again invented. So Alone in the Dark was expressed by with the term of an action adventure with horror themes from Lovecraft. And yeah, this is the menu from this kind of games. So I need to switch to push to the open and search, a kind of feature that will be cut, if I can say that, in Resident Evil and the other survival horror games, because you just need to push X or square, circle for make the different actions. Okay, so what we found? We find the shotgun. Why rifle? It's a shotgun, but okay, rifle. If you say that, okay. And as I told you before, in Emily prologue, she said that her uncle left a file on the piano, and if you search the piano, where is the file? Is here, I know. Okay, you find a letter. Another thing I really like about Alone in the Dark is that all the files are what can I say? That are narrative. It's a kind of term is okay. That you hear the voice of who wrote this, and it's very cool. It's a pity that almost none all survivor horror games will do that.
They are coming! I have freed hellish forces, and now the price must be paid. Derceto is the prey of evil. The sun has set. They will find my body, but will not have my soul. I can imagine the master's fury and the terror in the hearts of his slaves. I hear their footsteps. Some may understand what I have done. May God forgive me. Farewell, Jeremy Hartwood.
Yeah, I love this feature for the file. You can really feel the kind of the emotion of the writers, and that's really pushes you forward to discover more of the narrative. Here we have the all the Indian cover. Okay. Firstly, Alone in the Dark was actually named In the Dark, and in this first concept of the game, you were just in the dark, literally, with just a flashlight, and you would go forward with the sound of some object or the sound of your step on different grounds or something like that. But of course, a kind of concept of this game on 19th was impossible. So they tried to make the whole concept of the game with the polygons, because of course you know that the polygons were made as a kind of concept of video games from the first of 19th, despite the console from 2D were so much famous, again, were still much famous, like the Super Nintendo, for example. But of course, despite the technology was pretty high about the polygons, of course, for for those times, it was very difficult to use the camera in order to around the character and the whole scenario. Sorry, guys, I'm doing a pretty difficult speech. It's pretty difficult for an Italian speaker, so sorry. And yeah, so they had this amazing idea to use the photograph, to use the photograph for making the background, the scenario, and then adding the polygon like the characters, like some items to push, and enemies, models, these kind of things. But again, this kind of concept of the photographs just get some unworked feeling between the polygons and the real scenario from a photograph, and then they made the idea of using the fixed camera angles in 2D. And yeah, that's the concept of why we had, unfortunately, the video games with the fixed camera angles. It's all thanks to Alone in the Dark for this kind of way. Really, guys, sorry for the mess I did in English, but I hope you managed to get what I meant. Tranquilla Isabella, veramente ti ringrazio. Io tanto sono qua fino alle 10 circa, quindi veramente grazie anche di supportare il mio inglese, che davvero io diventerei pazza a sentire un'italiana che parla così male in inglese, ma lasciamo stare. Yeah, guys, thanks for bearing me for my bad English. Okay, we can continue. For example, you see the ground, this chair is all about into 2D. It's about the fixed camera angle, but this along with Emily Carter is polygon, and that was an idea from Alone in the Dark team. Such awesome. There's a bow here, but a little spoiler, you can't use that as a weapon, unfortunately. Then the all can. Then, sorry. And we use the oil to get full the lamp. Alright, now we can save. We really needed to save often, Alone in the Dark, because there are traps everywhere, and the enemies are really tough to defeat, really, believe me. Yeah, that's pretty difficult to use the bow for a common person like Heavenly. Alright. Um, I did a thing I really didn't want to do. So sorry, guys, but you're gonna to watch this kind of switch several times. Sorry. Okay, we need to get the sword before to open that door that I opened accidentally because I'm stupid. Okay, run toward this way, please. Okay. Um, mm, mm. Yeah. Alone in the Dark atmosphere and the whole concept is so close to Resident Evil 1. And I'm glad of that because Resident Evil is perfect. So we get the old cavalry saber. Ah, saber. Okay, it's a kind of sword. Yeah. Okay, we can. It's better that I save, of course. Okay. It's a zombie, guys. It's a zombie. But Science Alone in the Dark takes its own lore from Lovecraft. It isn't about viruses in any kind of way. It's totally different. I love the fact that the sword just broken. So now we have a broken blade. And we can still use the sword. See? And there are different kind of attacks. You can attack in this way for having a larger attack, while this one, the vertical one, is much stronger, but it's pretty dangerous because if you miss the enemy, it's the end. Just listen to also to the tracks. You can feel the atmosphere of Alone in the Dark also for the tracks that are very good made. Yeah, it became a coltello, a knife. Another zombie. It's a smaller one, but it's still dangerous. I'm Chris Redfield! Più bello se lo mancavo. Più bello se lo mancavo di nuovo. Ok. Alright, we defeated him as well. And the next one will be a nightmare. I never saved so much in any games like I did with Alone in the Dark. Ok, now leave, leave, leave. A Cerberus came out. That's what I meant before, that it's very a nightmare. It's really a nightmare. Because for defeating the dog, you need to really to knock out before he does everything. You really need to be the first one to hit it. Sorry guys if I'm not so good, but really the action part in Alone in the Dark are pretty difficult. Okay, 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 okay. Now die! Are you still alive? Ah. We made it, and we have still 16 points. Yeah, this is literally life point. And that's there's a reason, because you hear a slap instead of a slash of the blade, because in this game you can literally slap off the enemies. Really guys, you can just make actions, fight, and then you see Emily with her slap like Excella in Resident Evil 5 and her kick. Yeah, but it's pretty... I don't know how to say that. It's better that you use a broken blade. No, 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 no. Don't throw it, please. Okay. We need to throw the vase. Sì, abbiamo capito che Emily è praticamente Excella. È lei. Il concept. No, ma soltanto degli attacchi. Degli attacchi corpo a corpo, No, grazie. Ok. You can't examine the items with the inventory like Resident Evil, but for finding some items like the key in this case, you need to literally throw the object and then find the new ones. It's amazing! Okay, I think we can open here. Use the key. A small mirror. Probably because I grew up with Resident Evil, but I just love Dimensions. Dimensions are literally my favorite setting for any horror games. Because they can be so unique, still they felt they feel nostalgic in some kind of way. I really love Dimensions. Ok, it's better that we save. Sì, guarda, la Queen Zenobia l'ho adorata. Ma sai cosa vuol dire adorata? Proprio perché venivamo nell'epoca di Resident Evil 4 e 5, che comunque sono giochi action. Quindi avere proprio il Resident Evil che aveva Jill e Chris di nuovo come personaggi principali entrambi, con un gameplay che comunque cerca di abbracciare di più il survival horror, E una location come una nave da crociera, è stato veramente un Resident Evil Revelations, come si dice, è uno dei miei comfort games, quindi sì. Yeah, it's exactly what I really love about the mansion, that every room has own story to tell. Yeah, exactly. What we have here? Another detail that I love of Alone in the Dark, even if it's a very small one, but it's pretty differences from other survivor horror games. It's literally the way you can use some healthy items that you literally drink or eat them, like in this case.
Ah,
You feel better. I have no idea what she drank, but okay. What kind of special drink is in the medikit? And then you can throw away. She literally throw. It's too funny. Sì, davvero, almeno quello è disinfettante, no? No, no, no. There isn't any key in the bathtub, but you had a good reason to think that. No. Action search. Okay. No water. Okay. And now we can proceed. This kind of puzzle, I managed to resolve that thanks to a file that I didn't take now, but it's on... ecco, ancora. Soffitta come si dice in inglese? In the first location of the game, the one with the piano. Sorry guys, really. Now, it's better that we save, of course, because if you make a wrong step, it's the end. You just need to avoid this armor, otherwise he becomes a nemesis. I'm not kidding. Attic, giusto Isabella, che stupida che sono. Attic, giusto, grazie mille. Yeah, I switch Italian, English. In the end of the streaming, I will have no idea how to say il mio nome è. My name is. Okay, you find a gramphone. Alright. Just be quiet, because yeah, it's a ghost. These are so helpful. Don't make any noise. No, 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 no. No! And here's if you play as Emily, she says an edit comment that you haven't with Edward, of course, because she says a photograph of Uncle Jeremy with me. It's a pity. I really wished for more of these unique lines if you play with different characters. Alright, in this case it's better that we leave here the gramophone, because you can't carry all the items in once, because it's about own wealth. So this is too heavy, and I'm not going to take other items. So it's better that we drop. Because it's not a better choice to throw a gramophone. So just drop it, okay. Attenta, attenta, attenta. Okay. I managed to avoid the armor. And of course it's better to save here. Alright. I only speak Arabic, English, some Japanese, some Spanish. Wow, you're great. I can speak a little English and Italian because it's my native language, of course. So, wow. Another beautiful room. Hear that? Let's remember that is a horror game from Lovecraft. Even on those times that survivor horror wasn't convinced yet. No again. The dog of Alone in the Dark are my nightmare. Go for it! Go for it! Kill it! Haha! Yeah! They are so annoying. And yeah, let's read the notebook.
Diary of Jeremy Hartwood. September 27th, 1924. I have decided to keep this diary. Too many inexplicable events have taken place recently. Never have dreams so haunted my every waking moment. Perhaps my romantic mind was too dull, and has only now woken up to these new paths and visions. Some, seeing my recent paintings, may question my sanity. I can only ask them, what is sanity? Where does madness begin? September 28th, 1924. The night is pitch black. I am again drenched in sweat. I was wandering in the dunes, among giant standing stones. They were arranged in a circle, and the wind whistled about them. I plunged my hand into the soil and felt that repulsive thing which was trying to catch me. It seized me. I struggled to break free of its loathsome embrace and managed to tear my hand away. It was covered in sticky substance. I was gripping a knife. October 5th, 1924. The stone circle is a pentacle. Derceto's library is filled with books on the occult. I will study those books until I find some explanation for the dreams. The visions that haunt me must be connected to my discoveries. I shall have to undertake a profound exploration of my dreams. December 16th. Dear God, I have found the knife. It was hidden here, and what I have learned fills me with apprehension. It is a sacrificial dagger belonging to some unholy cult. The thought of that blade tearing through human flesh horrifies me, yet I must continue my research. Derceto is a storehouse of treasures. Was my father right after all? January 23rd. I spend all my days plunged in dusty books. The servants are convinced I am mad. At night, I awaken them with my screams. The dreams are draining what sanity I still have. I have tried staying awake, but in vain. My visions have changed. No doubt the influence of my father's research. February 7th, 1925. The Dark Man, that is what I call him, has revealed his true face to me. He appeared, as usual, near the fireplace, but this time he approached me. His terrible smile will haunt me to my dying day. His breath was ice, and his burning eyes froze me. I could not move. I know, as surely as I have ever known anything, that the face I saw, the face that has turned my nights into hellish torture, is the mask of death. March 10th. My exhaustion is beyond description. The endless reading burns my eyes. It seems that pirates frequented the area. Dr. Herbert insists I keep to my bed. I have moved to another bedroom and sleep much better now. The Dark Man has not gone, however. I know it. He will wait for as long as he must. Unless I, Jeremy Hartwood, can find a way to send him back to whatever hell he comes from. March 11th. March 13th. The translation will seriously dent what money I have left. I cannot paint. My March 29th.
Sorry guys, I made a
March
mistake about
30th.
the file. I'm so sorry about that.
March 31st.
I didn't know about that, and it's a pity because I love
Diary of Jeremy Hartwood.
reading all these files.
September 27th, 1924.
But right, sorry again. And maybe we can get the other pages for the next time, of course, because you know that I love the files and how the survivor horror narrative is told by them. And yeah, about the things that you're saying about the date that maybe Resident Evil took inspiration. I got to know that mostly of survivor horror games from Japanese takes place in the end of summer and September, October, because it's the season of the undead. Is a very creepy season for the Japanese lore, and so they use them for their own games, even if they take place in the West, like America, Europe, and so on. So sorry guys about the mistake I did with the files, but of course we're gonna to see the rest of it, the diary of Jeremy, for the next stream. And yeah, I really appreciate your time with me, that you bear my English awful talking, and also all the way that I spread my love toward this genre. And I really can't wait to keep my play with you in Alone in the Dark. I hope I managed to do better in the action part, but I really want to bring this entire series, because of course we're gonna to clear all Alone in the Dark. Oh my, also the last part that is the worst in my opinion, because it's I call the last part of Alone in the Dark Super Mario. And yeah, if you play that, I think you already know why. And for who haven't, you're gonna find out soon. So again, guys, really thanks for bearing me. Thanks for your time that I really appreciate. And I hope to see you soon for my next streaming. That of course will be the second part of Alone in the Dark. And yeah, I that's all. Grazie Isabella per essere stata qua, veramente lo apprezzo, e in particolar modo per sentirmi parlare davvero così tanto. Cioè, sono noiosa in inglese che non riesco a trovare i termini. Immagina un mio streaming in italiano, diventerei la logorroica per eccellenza, proprio. Quindi ti ringrazio davvero. And of course all of you guys that you really are here despite I can't express what I really want to mean, but that's mm, my way to improve the English. So again, grazie mille. I'm gonna to tell you the next day for the streaming, that I think will be Saturday evening in the same hour, so about the 9 p.m. But I don't know yet, because I have of course my my schedule, my my job to do, and so on. So yeah, I'm gonna to tell you on my X account, that is the main social that I am. And yeah, I finished for this evening. And again, grazie mille for being here. We'll see you the next time. Buonanotte, good night.